guys, Dr. Matt here, back in for another Wellness Wednesday. So we are going to be taking some of those spine-sparing, pain-free movement techniques that we talked about last week and show how they can translate into everyday tasks. So if you remember, we worked on core bracing kind of as our foundation. Then we talked about the lunge, the twist, and the squat. So let's first demonstrate how that squat component might come into play in your everyday life. So the first thing we're going to demonstrate is getting up from a chair. So if you're not having pain, you're probably not even thinking about a proper way to get up from a seated position. But for those of us who have had pain in the low back, we know this can be one of the most excruciating or painful movements that we can do. So typically when we get up from a chair, we're not thinking about it and we kind of fully flex our spine and throw ourselves out of the chair. Kind of like such. All right, I got to get up, and we bend, and then we just go with it. So a better way to do it is to look to keep that low back straight and locked. So if we're in a deep chair like this one, we might have to work ourselves to the edge. Okay, take our broad stance, and by all means, use our legs to help us propel ourselves out of the chair. So from here, we're going to use the help of our legs, keeping that low back straight. And remember that squat we worked on last week, drive with the hips to a standing position. So as you see, that really avoids the flexing of that spine, and it's a much better low back sparing movement where we're not putting a lot of compression on our soft tissues and we're creating shearing motion within those joints. So next we're going to talk about lifting objects off the ground. So since no lift is going to be the same universally, one of the guiding principles we're using is we're just trying to avoid like full flexion on that spine, because when we get our spine into that full flexion and then we add a load, we add weight that we're trying to pick up, we put a lot of compressive force onto our discs here and also increase the shearing load onto our tissues as well. It just sets us up for a higher increase or rate of injury. Many of us know, lift with the legs, not the back, right? I don't want to bend down like this, my spine around it, pick this up and do that 50 times throughout the day. Instead, we want to go into our squat position like we talked about, keeping that low back straight and bending down to the object, keeping it close to our bodies, and then lifting, driving up with our hips, okay? The key there again, keeping that low back straight, locked in, core is braced. That way we're really sparing our low back and soft tissues. But let's say we're not lifting heavy objects, but we have to do a lot of small repeated lifting of light objects. So if I set these down, a heavily underutilized lifting technique is the golfer's lift. And I'm not a golfer myself, so I had never really heard of this. But what that looks like, golfers will do this to reach down and grab the ball out of the hole, is using one leg to kind of counterbalance your body weight as you hinge at the hips. So I'll demonstrate that. So we reach back. So our one leg, whatever leg we're not using, is going to be counterbalancing our body weight. You see I hinge at the hips here, keeping that low back nice and straight and locked in. And you can either reach down and grab with the opposite hand or reach down and grab same sided, whichever is more comfortable for you. The next technique we're going to demonstrate is if you're laying in bed. Again, when we don't have back pain, we're not really thinking about how we're twisting and turning in bed. But as soon as that pain flares up, I oftentimes have patients tell me that rolling in bed is an extremely painful process. So I want to show how we might go about moving around in our bed without twisting around the spine and minimizing that pain discomfort as much as we can. So if we're in a sideline position, the part that gets us in trouble a lot is twisting that upper body first and then bringing the legs with it, because then we're twisting our spine and that often exacerbates our symptoms. So instead, we want to try to roll and move as a whole unit. So that's where like that twist is going to come into handy, and also that lunge movement that we talked about as well. So bracing our core here. All right, we want to try to build a little momentum, and instead of twisting, move as one unit here. So I'll brace here, might spread my legs a little bit, and then from there, push off and roll. and roll as one unit. So allow me to demonstrate that one more time. So again, we want to brace here, bring the leg up a little bit, use our arm, push, roll, one unit, like that. So as you can see, as we roll, we're not twisting over the spine. Everything's staying nice and straight, nice and tight, and we're really minimizing movement in the low back. Hope you guys found this video helpful. We are here to help you move better, feel better, be better to you. You guys have a great week.
Everybody's moving, everybody's moving, everybody's moving, 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 moving. Everybody's moving, everybody's moving, everybody's moving, 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 and stop.